All right, welcome back. Today, we're diving into a piece of software that, let's be honest, kind of runs the world. It powers businesses, it organizes our lives. We're talking about Microsoft Excel. So let's pull back the curtain and make this incredible tool way less scary, starting right from the beginning.
You know that feeling, right? You open up Excel, and you're just staring at this endless grid of empty boxes. It can feel a little bit intimidating, like, where do I even start? And hey, if you've ever felt that, you are definitely not alone.
But what if I told you that in just the next few minutes, we can turn that blank page into one of the most powerful tools you'll ever use? Because that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to turn that confusing grid into something crystal clear, starting with the basics and building all the way up to creating some really cool visual data stories.
Okay, first things first. If you want to become an Excel pro, you've got to get the fundamentals down. It all starts with understanding its basic structure, which is really just made up of a few simple core ideas.
So think of an Excel file less like a single page and more like a whole digital binder. That entire file, the thing you actually open and save, is called a workbook. It's the container for your entire project, whether you're making a budget, tracking sales, whatever it is.
Now, inside that binder, you've got all of these individual pages or tabs at the bottom. You've probably seen them, labeled Sheet 1, Sheet 2. Well, those are your worksheets. They are perfect for keeping things organized. You could have one sheet for January's data, another for February's, all neatly tucked away in the same workbook.
Let's zoom in on what makes up a worksheet. It's really just a grid, right? You've got your vertical columns, which are labeled with letters, and your horizontal rows, which are labeled with numbers. And where a column and a row cross, you get a single box called a cell. Now, here's the important part. Every single cell has its own unique address, called a cell reference. It's just the column letter and the row number, like A1 or B5. And that little address, it's the key to, well, pretty much everything in Excel.
So now that we've got the lay of the land, let's learn the language. Because understanding cell references is what really unlocks Excel's magic, its ability to do calculations for you automatically. And there are two main types you really need to know.
This is a super important idea. First, you have what's called a relative reference, like just A1. Think of it as flexible. When you copy a formula that uses it, the reference actually changes based on where you moved it. But then you have an absolute reference, and you'll spot this one by the dollar signs, like $A, $1. This one is locked down, it's anchored, and it will always point back to that one specific cell, no matter where you copy your formula.
And here's a brilliant way to remember that. Just think, absolute equals anchor. The dollar sign even kind of looks like a little anchor, right? So when you see those dollar signs, you know that reference is anchored in place. It's not going anywhere.
And here's a little pro tip that's going to save you so much time. After you type a cell reference into a formula, just hit the F4 key on your keyboard. It'll automatically cycle through all the different options, from relative to absolute. Trust me, it's a total game changer.
Okay, so we've got the structure, we've got the language. Now we get to the really fun part, the engine that makes Excel so powerful. We're talking about formulas. This is what turns that boring grid into your own personal, super smart calculator.
And it all begins with one golden rule. You have to remember this. Every single formula in Excel must, I repeat, must start with an equal sign. That little symbol is what tells Excel, hey, pay attention, I want you to calculate something for me.
Let's take one of the most common functions out there, sum. It's so simple. You just type equals sum, open a parentheses, and then you can select a whole bunch of cells, say from A1 down to A4. Excel will instantly add up all those numbers for you. It's fast, it's easy, and you don't have to worry about making a mistake with a calculator.
So now that we can calculate stuff, let's make our data even smarter. Let's make it so it tells us important things just by looking at it without us having to hunt around. This is where a feature called conditional formatting comes in. It's basically like giving your spreadsheet a brain.
And you're probably thinking, this sounds complicated, right? Well, it's not. It's actually super easy. You just select the data you want to watch, you go to conditional formatting on the Home tab, and then you just set up a rule. For example, you could tell Excel, hey, if you see any number in here that's greater than 80, I want you to make that cell green.
Let's look at a real example. So here we've got a simple table of student math scores. Right now, it's just a list of numbers. To find the top scores, you kind of have to scan through the whole list. But boom, we apply one simple rule. Highlight any score over 75, and instantly, the important data just pops right out. The best part? It's totally dynamic.
If we were to change Sarah's score to, say, 70, that green highlight would just disappear on its own. It's awesome.
We've organized our data, we've done calculations, we've even made it intelligent. There's really only one step left, telling its story visually. Because let's face it, sometimes the best way to show what your numbers mean isn't with more numbers, but with a picture.
And this is so true, isn't it? A single, simple chart can communicate more in a split second than an entire page full of data. It turns complexity into an instant, easy-to-understand insight.
And the best part? You don't have to be some kind of graphic designer to pull this off. Excel actually does almost all the work for you. All you do is select your data, pop over to the Insert tab, and click on Recommended Charts. Excel literally analyzes your numbers and suggests the best ways to show them.
And just look at that. In just a couple of clicks, our boring old table of numbers is now a clean, super clear bar chart. You can instantly see who the top performers are and compare everyone at a glance. We've officially turned raw data into a story.
So there we have it. We went from a blank, intimidating grid to a dynamic, smart, and visual tool. We've covered the basic building blocks, the language of formulas, and even the art of telling a story with charts. The only question left is, now that you have these new skills, what story is your data going to tell?